Positive Anime Reviews is a review show that is designed for people who aren't very picky about their anime, like me. Most anime I watch ends up in my 5 out of 5 category. My reviews are for those people who are looking for a reason to watch anime rather than hate on it. I am willing to give any and all anime a chance before stating my opinion. Lastly, my reviews are all my opinion and might and or most likely will not match yours. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. Just be respectful in the comment section. Thank you. And as always, possible spoiler warning ahead. Hey guys, Darth Glork here, back with another positive anime review. So, today we will be talking about Drifters. Now, the reason I originally found this anime was because I was actually looking up anime that was similar to Tanya the Evil. Now, I did a review on that not too long ago, and I watched it, and I enjoyed it a great deal. Honestly, I really loved Tanya, the main character. I loved how she was just so crazy, violent, and evil, and I also loved how tiny she was. But not the point. So I was looking up for anime that was similar. Now, a list that I was reading said that this anime was listed as similar because the main character was supposedly similar to Tanya. Now, after watching it, I see some similarities, but there's also some glaring differences. So it's kind of true, but it's not quite the same, and I will explain that when we get into it. Anyway, so we will be talking about Drifters. So as always, we will be starting with the synopsis because it is an easy way to sum up any anime. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Okay. So, at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, Toyohisa Shimazu is the rear guard for his retreating troops, and is critically wounded when he suddenly finds himself in a modern gleaming white hallway. Faced with only a stoic man named Murasaki and hundreds of doors on both sides, Toyohisa is pulled into the nearest door and a world completely unlike his own. The strange land is populated by all manner of fantastical creatures, as well as warriors from different eras of Toyohisa's world who were thought to be dead. Quickly befriending the infamous warlord Nobunaga Oda and the ancient archer, and I'm going to crush it, Yoichi Suketaka Nasu. Wow, I actually did that better than I thought I would. Toyohisa learns of the political unrest tearing through the continent. Furthermore, they have been summoned as drifters to fight against the Ends, people who are responsible for the creation of the Orda Empire and are trying to annihilate the drifters. As the Ends grow more powerful, so does the Empire's persecution of elves and other demi-humans. It is up to Toyohisa and his group of unconventional heroes to battle in a brand new world war to help the Empire's subjects, while protecting the land to claim for themselves and challenging the Ends. So, this was it was a really fun premise. Let me just get that out of the way immediately. It was a really, really fun premise, and I had a good time. Now, going into the rest of our opening stuff. So obviously that's what the anime is about. Now, as for when did it air, this anime is from the fall 2016 season. And so it's pretty new. It aired not too long ago, and I remember hearing quite a bit about it, thinking that a lot of people said it was good. It seemed to do really well as far as views go, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it, and I am certainly one of them. But like always, I watch all of my anime after it's completely out, because I don't watch any anime as it's coming out, because that would drive me crazy to have to wait between episodes. Anywho, so it aired in the fall 2016 season. Now, as far as rating is concerned, this anime was definitely a mature rating for sure. I would definitely give it an adult rating just because it was very, very violent. There is a lot of language and a lot of violence in it. There's a large body count. There's lots of death in this anime. Now, and that's one of the ways that it was similar to Tanya the Evil, is because the body count is very high. There's lots of death, and lots of people are killed, and a lot of it's very, very violent. So that's why how it is similar. Now, the other major reason that it is similar is some of the characters are similar, right? The other reason that it gets a mature rating really quick is the language. There's a lot of language. I don't specifically remember any real sexual content. There's a lot of language. Anywho, so similar anime, obviously I would say I guess Tanya the Evil. It's pretty similar in some ways. There is some differences, but I can't go into that until we talk about characters. Otherwise, it won't make any sense. Now, season length, it is 12 episodes, and so it's another pretty easy, pretty quick watch. Now, there is 12 episodes, and there is also, I think it's 2 OVAs that are sequels to, they're basically in episode 13 and 14, essentially, of the anime, and they are both very good. Now, something that you need to be aware of, however, is that the subbed version of the, which I don't know if there's any other version, because I watch all of my anime subbed, but the subbed version of the OVAs are not that good. The subtitles are so bad, and it's really hard to understand what's going on, and so I would encourage you to maybe do a lot of pausing or just focus, because the subtitles for the subbed version of the OVAs is not good. Now, the regular season was totally fine. I didn't notice any other subbed problems, but the subbed version of the OVAs is a rough ride, because it was kind of hard to understand what was going on, because it was not very good. Now, as far as after credit stuff is concerned, and this is actually something else that I'm going to add into my reviews, is there anything after the credits that you need to see? After the closing song that you need to see. Because some anime, there is major things after the closing song, and some animes, there's nothing important happening after the closing song. So, now with this one, I actually don't remember, unfortunately. I lean towards there wasn't. I almost think that there wasn't anything important after the closing song. I'm pretty sure there was not, now that I'm thinking about it. Now, for now on, I'm going to start adding that to my reviews. Is there anything after the closing song you need to see? And in Drifters, I don't think there was. Now, I would encourage you to check, because this is a new section in my reviews, and I don't specifically remember 100%. I would say 70-30, there's nothing after the credits. Now, moving into our character section, and this one is going to be important, because the characters were all really good. Now, it is one of the funnest premises is having major characters from history as the characters in your anime, and it was so cool. It was such a fun idea, and I had a blast with it. It was just really cool to have all these major characters from history as major characters in the anime. Now, how they are portrayed, I honestly can't tell you, because I knew the names of a lot of these people, but I didn't know, I don't know what their personality was like. It's just that a lot of people, you can read characters from... you can read about these characters' actual real life history, a lot of them, but it doesn't. But a lot of that is not. It can't be known what their personality was like. You can read of what their deeds was, and in some cases, you can know. You could basically get an idea of what their personality was like. So I don't know how incredibly accurate it is portrayed. Some of them I would. There's no way that's how they were actually was. But regardless, it was a fun premise. So of course, your main character is going to be Toyohisa. He is, of course, last name Shimazu of the Shimazu clan. Now, he is the main character. There is basically the 3 main characters, and then there is Nobunaga Oda. He is another one of the main characters, and then the last major character is Yoichi. I told you I can't do it with my stutter. It's so hard to read. Suketaka Nasu. There we go. I can do it. Just incredibly slowly. Anyway, it's Yoichi. So you have Yoichi, Nobunaga, and Toyohisa. Those are the 3 main trio. Now, there is a plethora of supporting characters. Other ones that are introduced, which I'm certain will be bigger deals as the upcoming seasons happen. Now, they have not specifically announced another season yet. At the end of the anime, they did say will return. There will be a season 2, and honestly, that would not surprise me in the least if there was a season 2, because it was really good, and I heard it was really good. So it wouldn't surprise me if another one does happen, and I would love it if there was, because this anime was good, and by itself, it was all self-contained. So even if this was the only season, it was good. I would love if there was another, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be resolved. It's not like, it doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth if there isn't, if another season doesn't happen, but at the same time, technically the big bad guy wasn't defeated, and technically a lot of stuff was set up where, the nation's falling apart, you know what I mean? So it's set up that there would easily be a season 2. There's a lot of stuff to cover, there's a lot of things that weren't resolved, a lot of characters that they hinted at but didn't give a lot of background story for, and I would love another season, and I'm certain a lot of people would as well. Now, there's a lot of other supporting characters. There is Hannibal Barca, so you might, Hannibal evil. He fought against Rome, in historically. Then you have what was the other one? It was I'm trying to remember the other character's name because there was two people. That was a big deal. I'm actually gonna Scipio. That was the other guy's name. So then you have Scipio, who fought for Rome. Now both of those two are historically incredibly powerful, incredibly smart generals who led armies. Very, very smart. Now they are from actual history. And then you have a lot of other people. You have Joan of Arc, who actually fights on the bad guy team, and she's absolutely nuts. So that's not how she was in history. There's no way. She has a sidekick guy with a French name that I cannot pronounce. You have Butch Cassidy and also the Sundance Kid. They are both in there. They are both really fun. And there's a lot of other people as well, but those are some of the important ones. But really, the most important characters are going to be, Toyohisa, Nobunaga, and Yoichi. Those are the main three. Now, it was very fun. The portrayal of how the characters were built were really, really fun. I love how the Shimazu clan, the way that Toyohisa talks about them and how they sound very similar to the Spartans, historically. They sound very to the Spartan mentality. And I love that because Spartans are some of my favorite historical warriors, and the Shimazu clan sounds very similar. And so a lot of how they think sounds very, very similar. And I loved that. So I don't know how historically accurate that is. I don't know anything about the Shimazu clan or whether they were even a real clan. I assume they were because a lot of these other people really existed. So I assume they are real, but regardless whether or not that was how they actually thought or not, it was still very cool. But anyway, so it was very, very cool. Now we can actually talk about how it's similar. So Toyohisa, now I talked earlier about how the list I read said that this dude, the main character, Toyohisa, was very similar to Tanya the Evil, from the anime Tanya the Evil. How it was very similar to Tanya. Now, there is some similarities. One similarity is they're both not afraid to kill people. Tanya would kill people just because she thought it was fun. Like, you know what I mean? She was very, very, very wrapped up in the war. She loved throwing her power around. She was a bad guy. That's how she was. However, Toyohisa is similar in the fact that he's not afraid to kill people. That he is a warrior through and through. He is very much whether or not, so assuming that the Shimazu clan is actually historically accurate similar to the Spartans, he has a very similar Spartan mentality, and he's not afraid to kill people. He is a warrior through and through. However, there's a lot of differences that is very, very different. So I would just hesitate to say that they were very, very similar because they have some similarities, but they're not the same. Toyohisa, he's very 1600 Japan. There is a lot of things about the clan that is very honorable. He has a lot of thoughts where even if he kills enemies, he is always obsessed with beheading people. Now his whole thought behind it is because the enemies were bad guys, but if you bury the heads and honor the heads, you can honor the people that he killed. It's even though he's not afraid to kill people, he still has the whole honor thing about him, and that's very different. Tanya had zero honor, so that is very, very different. The other thing is that if people surrender, he's not going to kill them. If they surrender, that's it. Then they're free to go. And again, that's different because Tanya would kill people that surrendered. Surrendering didn't matter to her. Whereas Toyohisa, he won't do that. Other thing, he won't kill women. And obviously, Tanya didn't care who she killed. So that was very different. So there is a lot of differences. But there was a lot of differences. So I would hesitate to say that they were similar. They have a couple of similarities, but they're not the same at all. And how they're portrayed, where it's no secret that Toyohisa and his people are good guys. They're fighting overall for the good thing. Now, they all have done things in history that are very brutal, but overall, they are technically fighting for the good side. And how they see things is ultimately a good thing, and I do support them. But there is things that they do that are brutal and tough, and they have things about them that are, kind of dark side and stuff, but they are ultimately good guys. Tanya was certainly not a good guy, so there's a lot of differences. Now, it's kind of fun because there's basically, for me to describe what this anime is ultimately about, there is the one side where there's this evil dude called the Black King. Now, the Black King is uniting all of these monsters, like trolls and goblins and you know what I mean, all kinds of monsters, and he's building them into this nation where previously these monsters were just dumb monsters. They had very little brains about them. Well, this Black King guy is incredibly powerful. He can like instantly heal wounds, and he can like create food from nothing, and he's very, very powerful. Well, he's taught all these monsters how to have money and how to have trade and how to sell goods, and he's like turning them into an actual nation. And then his whole thing is he wants to destroy humanity and have the monsters take their place. Now they're the bad guys. They're on the bad guy side. Now on the good guy side, the people that fight for the bad guys are called the Ends, and the people that fight for the good guys are called the Drifters. So all of these people from history, basically when they are thought to be dead or right as they are about to die, and they sort of do die, they are taken to this other world where now they fight in this other world against each other. So people that are crazy and bad, they fight for the Black King and as the Ends. The people that are fighting against him are called Drifters, and then the other Drifters, they are helped out by this organization called the Octobrists. I forget. I was very bad at pronouncing it, but basically it's this other side of basically drifters and good guys and magic and magician people, and the drifters help them fight for the good guys side. And so some of the people openly help the magician organization with fighting against the Black King, and they're obviously helping them out, and they're trying to win, and it's very much them against them. But some drifters, and in this case it's Toyohisa, it's Nobunaga, and Yoichi, they have a different goal, where it almost feels like there's sort of three groups, where there is the magician group with some of the drifters who fight against the Black King, and then like as their own side with their own real goals. Whereas and then of course there's the Black King's group, but it almost feels like that Toyohisa, Nobunaga, and Yoichi are their own group because they have a lot of their own goals. Where the like magician side, the Octobrist side, they ultimately want to win against the Black King, but Toyohisa's goal is very different, where their goal is they are liberating other demi-humans, like the elves and the dwarves are two of the notable ones that they do liberate and free. So they free them, and they are taking down the human nation that's been bullying everybody else. So it's kind of funny that they do a hostile takeover and take over the human nation, and the Black King is sort of doing the same thing. So they're kind of fighting, and it's obvious that Toyohisa and his group are against the Black King and stuff, but they do help out like the magician organization, but it does not feel the same. Their goals feel different. Whereas like Nobunaga and Toyohisa and Yoichi, it almost feels like that they're their own faction, and they're sort of doing their own hostile takeover of everybody. And I liked that. It was really fun because I was really cheering for Toyohisa, and there's a lot of really fun, like chess-like strategy and maneuvers with Nobunaga and Yoichi and Toyohisa and stuff, and it was really cool to see Nobunaga, for instance, play the part of general, and how he's like he's designing guns, whereas a whole nation doesn't know what guns are, and he's designing rifles and muskets and stuff. So he's making black powder and making rifles, and all these people have no idea what this is. And he's building these rifles, and Toyohisa knows and stuff, but a lot of the actual natives of this world don't know what it is. So they're bringing like their own foreign technology into this world, and they're using it to battle and stuff. So it was really cool to see this like general strategy stuff being thrown around the world. It was really, really fun to watch that play out. Now, and of course, everybody has their own backstory and motivations, and then in a lot of cases, it'll do their backstory, tell you about when they lived and what era they're all from, and so it was really fun to see people react to each other, like from different eras, like to watch like Hannibal, for instance, talk to Toyohisa was really fun because they're from very different eras, or whatever, or Nobunaga talk to, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Like that didn't happen. They were so far apart, but it was just really cool. They also had some people from the Japanese fleet in World War II. Like they had like one of the Zero pilots that flew those planes. He flies in, and then they have like an admiral of the Japanese Imperial Navy. He's a part of it later on and stuff. So you have all these all these characters that meet when otherwise they never would have, and that was really fun, and I really enjoyed that. But anyway, I just wanted to go a lot to the characters because obviously this anime would be nothing without them. Now, as far as who my favorites were, honestly, I think Nobunaga is probably my favorite. I really also like, it's Toyohisa and Nobunaga, but I think I honestly favor Nobunaga even over Toyohisa. I like Nobunaga's style because he's like this warlord, and it's really cool to watch him play the part of warlord in this other world, and watch him reflect on how he died in his world and bring his technology. I really had a blast watching him play warlord, and I think Nobunaga Oda is my favorite character, with the second place being Toyohisa Shimazu. I really do enjoy him, but I think Nobunaga is my favorite. So anyway, that was very cool. Now, the animation and music was really fun in this one. The animation was very different. It had a really kind of a sort of a much more mature art style, but it was still very fun, and it was different than your average very, light, colorful anime. But it also wasn't dull and like drab like a lot of adult animes are. It was very fun because it had a very unique art style, which was really cool. Now, honestly, that's very different for me because I am not often a fan of unique art styles. When everyone says like, oh, it has a very unique art style, I often look at it and like I throw up, like internally I die a little bit because it's just ugly, and I'm like, I will never be able to focus on how supposedly good this anime is because the art style is hideous. And I know, maybe that's shallow, and maybe there's a lot of stories I'm missing out on because the art style is just weird. But whatever, I'm shallow that way, and I am better about it than I used to be. But regardless, this art style was very fun. Now, the music was also really good in this anime. There was several times when the music would kick in that it was it had a very unique soundtrack, and I had a lot of fun listening to the music that was it really added a lot to this world, and it was really cool to watch to have this music that's not your normal typical anime music kick in, and it was just really, really fun. So going into our final rating and recommendation, it's going to be no surprise, I give this one a 5 out of 5. Very good. This anime made no mistakes worth noting and is definitely worth a buy. And obviously that's just the case with this one. It was just really, really good. It was really well made, really good. I am eternally hopeful for a season 2, and it would not surprise me for a second if we got one, because from what I understand, they did really well, and I would love it if we got a season 2. And the OVAs, I wish were better subbed, but they were still well put together and stuff, but the subs is really bad, and they're just really bad in the OVAs. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the one I watched, but whatever. The subbing sucked. But anyway, as far as recommendation, I absolutely recommend the anime. It's really good. If you are a fan of Tanya the Evil, for instance, which is another one I recommended, if you're a fan of that, or if you're a fan of more adult, mature anime and you're not afraid of violence, I do recommend it. Unfortunately, I forgot to go into genres earlier. I accidentally skipped that section, but it's no surprise, genres is action, adventure. So there is a lot of comedy elements that are actually pretty funny in this one. That's not bad. I preferred the much more serious moments, but the comedy was enough that it wasn't bad. I couldn't look over it. But anyway, action, adventure, historical, samurai, fantasy, none of that should be surprising. But regardless, it was very, very, very fun, and I enjoyed it, and I do totally recommend it. So that is going to call it for this positive anime review, and I had a blast with this one, and I am looking forward to our next one. So I am already, I think, 3 or 4 episodes into our next anime. It is one that I actually own, in real life, and so that's pretty exciting, and it's one that I've seen several times before. But something that we're going to start doing a lot more of is reviewing anime that I have seen before or that I own, because now it occurred to me that I'm going to have to rewatch every anime I have ever watched ever at some point, because I'll need to redo a review of it. And in some ways that's great, right? Because I can rewatch anime that have been my favorite, like going through Naruto, for instance, and I can review that, and it'll be fun to watch a show and then do a review of that show in this reviewing style, because obviously this review thing, I haven't done it my whole life or anything. It's much more of a recent thing. So it occurred to me that I'm going to have to rewatch every anime that I've ever watched. And of course, in some cases that's great, but in some cases that's actually pretty hard, because I'm going to have to watch anime that I know I had gripes with. And I'll have to do that and give my review of that. And something that will definitely be covered when we do the review of the anime I'm watching, but there's a lot of anime that I have watched that are dare I say, controversial, and they have things that not everyone's going to agree with, and a lot of people might be mad at me for saying or giving my opinion over, and it just occurred to me, because of the anime I'm watching, I'm a little scared to do the review because there is some stuff in it that doesn't bother me that a lot of people might be bothered with. And so I'm a little scared to do this review, but so there'll be a lot of like brace for impact once I do that review. And I wouldn't surprise me if we hit it pretty quickly, because I've seen this anime before, and a lot of the time it's easier to rewatch anime that you've seen, especially if you like it, because you're not so scared that you're going to miss any details. Anyway, so I will cover a lot more of that when we do that anime review, whenever that happens. But yeah, so there's a lot of anime that I've watched that have a lot of more controversial stuff in it, and so I'm a little scared to do that, but I'm going to just tell myself to do it, because man, you can't live your life being scared of just the dumbest crap. So we're gonna get through it. I'm a little scared, but I will do lots of like warnings before we actually get into it, so I can appropriately prepare anyone who is incredibly sensitive or thin-skinned. Anyway, now I have rambled on far too long, but regardless, this anime was great, and I hope you guys watch it. It was awesome. Anyway, that is going to call it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, Darth Clark here. Oh my gosh, though, what an upset. Darius is like, forget your type advantage, scrub, and look at that stat line. Ooh, sexy. This is your chance, my dude. It's tear gas.
Reznov, save me!
Everyone's rushing. Let's rush too. You could say we're rushing to the objective. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna shoot your little toes. You think PETA's gonna come after me for just executing these monkeys for literally no reason at all? Shoot at me. So oh my gosh! Be careful what you wish for, kids. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and we will talk to you guys later.